All right, let's talk pattern manipulations for the skirt sloper. We've got the center back. This symbol here indicates that it's cut on fold, so you don't have to write out how many you're cutting. We just have to indicate center back from center front. So this is from the skirt sloper. I've just made a paper copy so we can talk about manipulations, and then we'll get into cutting and sewing it. It's got a longer dart for the back, shorter for the front because there's more curve in the back. This does sit on natural waist, so it's going to fall about like belly button height. So when you take circumference of waist, that's about the height that you'll take it to correspond with the measurement chart. And then hip is give or take 7 inches dropped from natural waist. As you increase sizes past about like 14, or you have a longer torso, that dropped measurement could be between 8 and 9 inches for the widest circumference of the hip. If you're blending or grading between sizes, let's say you've got a larger or smaller waist, larger or smaller hip, before you cut this from the printed version, you can just true, which means you choose your waist size and hip size, and then you can blend one to the next. So a basic manipulation for this skirt sloper would probably be adding an additional 1/2 inch or inch seam allowance to center back, which is pretty straightforward. So this is kind of like 101 pattern making. And all you would do is you could eliminate this cut on fold because now it will become cut 2. And we'll just tape an extension of pattern paper to center back. All you'd have to do is add the extension for seam allowance, and then it would become cut 2. Once you've added your additional pattern paper, just take your see-through ruler and we just continue from center front here. And I'll just add 1/2 inch. Pretty straightforward. So now we've got cut 2 for the back panel with 1/2 inch seam allowance for center back. You can fill in that this would be for the zipper or however you want to indicate that that is there. To add or take away, we can just square up the ruler with center front. So say we want to make it 2 inches shorter, we just clip that away. Same for the back, 2 inches shorter, and clip that away. In this case, I'm going to leave the sloper as is, and the only change that we've made for today is adding the 1/2 inch at center back. And now we're going to lay this out to cut our fabric. All right, so here I've got my center front that's along the folded edge. You can see my selvage is here. So for the sake of not bringing this about 50-inch wide fabric to just be folded with selvages meeting and then kind of stacking my fabrics and ending up with like just a cutout hole, I've only folded over from selvage to make my fold here, and then I'll stack my pieces right over top of each other. So last but not least, always want to pin in place. So for my center front, cut on fold. It's always good to place weights over your fabric to stabilize. I just like to use like scissors or whatever tools I've got handy. All right. So, I mean, I'm kind of like a wild child and I prefer to use just the weights and a rotary cutter. Just saves time, but it does also take time to kind of get the hand of being really precise with it. So I'm gonna just pin the hems and the waist, and then we'll run through with the rotary cutter.
Oh, that's real good.
Okay, once I'm done cutting out my center front, I'm gonna repeat and cut out my center back, and I'm gonna cut 2 because we added that extra 1/2 inch to center back. But anytime you have a pattern piece that is cut on fold, you always, always, always want to notch at the folded edge. There is a side seam notch as well, which also indicates where the end of the zipper is if you put the zipper in at side seam. Gonna make things a lot easier, and let's just lay out our weights and then cut this bad boy out. All right, so we've cut the fabric right sides together, and my hack for marking your vanishing points is I just push a pin straight through the vanishing point here and here, and then I'm just gonna fold the pattern back and very gently with a pencil mark my vanishing point. And this is something you're able to do if you cut your fabric with right side spacing. This will be marking on the wrong side, which would be the inside of the skirt. Bing. Cool, so just double check all your notches are cut before we remove this. And then we'll get to stepping. So next what we'll be doing is we're gonna turn this front right side out. We're gonna turn our backs right side out as well. And I like to place a pin at center back so I don't forget right side from wrong side. In most cases, the back of the skirt is gonna be like 1/8 of an inch longer, and that's because there is more mass or more tissue on the back of the body. So you just have to give it a little stretch to fit, or that easing when you pin both side seams together. All right, so for marking our darts through, I'm going to use my vanishing point here as my pivot point for my ruler. And then I'm gonna draw in my dart legs. All right, off to the machine we go. We're gonna sew up the darts. We're gonna close up side seams. Now that all 4 darts are sewn up, they've been tied off at the ends, serge the side seams. Now I'm going to press the darts. All right, so now we have clean finished all the raw edges with the serger, and we just have to pop in the zipper and then attach this bias tape. It's Japanese. But yeah, contrast zipper. I know you're supposed to match the zip to your self fabric, and how you can do that is always match the pull, not the tape. Since with invisible zippers, the pull is really what you'll see most. I'm going to do the contrast zipper just so that in the video you can really see how it's being applied. It is a 1/2 inch seam allowance from center back. Some people prefer to press open their zippers first. If you are not well versed with applying zippers, especially invisible zippers, I would advise against that because you can sometimes sew way too close to the teeth and then the pull can't get past your stitching. I'm going to press it open just to give you an example of that, and I'll use my ham again just because it's trusty. Pin that in place, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to push back these teeth just to be safe. And maybe I'm crazy for adding steam, but it just is what it is. That's how I roll. And yeah, then you have a better view of your stitching guideline there in the tape. So I've got a 13-inch zipper, which is way too long. The good thing about invisible zippers is you can always shorten them, so you can find your desired length. You can do a tack here, and then you can clip away the rest of the length that you don't want. What I do is I place the zipper with the right side facing up, and you can see my fabric with right side facing up as well. And I'm gonna turn my zipper over so that right sides face right sides of my skirt. And then I'm gonna baste it in by hand and run to the machine and attach it. Reason 500,021,000 why I love Japan. So this double fold bias tape you can press on, and it's got fusible inside.